My name's Josh Eckert. I'm the Assistant Director of Academic Technology at Berkeley NYC. And today we're doing an immersive video tutorial of Studio G. Behind me, we have the SSL 4000 G series console, the heart of the room. To my right, we have a range of compressors and outboard gear from Universal Audio through to Neve and SSL. On the wall here, we have Westlake speakers, and on top of the console, we have the Genelec studio monitors. The studio runs on a Pro Tools rig, and today we're going to show you how to do playback, recording, and monitoring in Studio G. The next thing we're going to discuss from this SSL console is the status section. So primarily, students are taught to use the SSL console in record status. So you make sure that record is enabled in this status section of the center control section, as opposed to, say, the other common status mix, which would light up green. If we hit record, then we know we're in record mode. Make sure also that you do not engage cut at the bottom here. This will cut all monitoring, regardless of record or mix mode. So the next thing we're going to talk about is monitoring. In this room, there are two sets of speakers: the Westlake Audio speakers on the wall and the Genelec studio monitors on top of the console. Typically, if you're mixing audio, you should use the studio monitors on top of the console. They have better stereo imaging and will give you more detail of the mix. If you want to show your work to someone, say a professor, you could use the Westlake Audio because they're big and loud and will make your mix sound good. However, more detailed monitoring use the studio monitors. So to choose between them, we're going to select either the ATC or this large knob to control the volume. If you want to use the ATC, or in this case, the Genelec studio monitors, make sure you select Mini 1, which is labeled ATC at the side here. You see that button lights up when it's engaged. Then you can use this small knob to adjust the volume. If you want to use the wall speakers, disengage Mini 1, and then use the large knob. Remember, this master fader knob should always be at unity. It's currently taped down, but if the tape is ever removed, make sure that this fader is all the way up. So we've covered basic playback and monitoring in Studio G. Now we're going to talk about using a microphone in the live room to record. So we've set up a WA87 here. Now, before we make any other connections, we want to make sure that phantom power is not engaged on the desk. And we want to make sure that the gain is rolled all the way down. When we plug in this mic, we don't want any noise to come through. So having checked that, we're going to take the male end of our XLR cable and plug it into tie line 14 of the Studio G panel. Now that we've set up a microphone in the live room of Studio G, we're going to explore how to set up a microphone in the control room of Studio G. So unlike in the live room, where there's a single panel connecting to 32 tie lines, in the control room, we have multiple patch bay XLR tie panels. The first is located behind this rack, which has the Universal Audio compressors on the front, and behind, we have the tie lines 1 through 8. If we come over here, you'll see that we have the patch bay XLR ties for channels 9 through 16, and just on the other side of the room there, we have patch bay XLR ties for channels 17 through 24. So just like when we're using a mic in the live room, we want to make sure that the phantom power is disengaged and that the gain is rolled all the way down on our chosen channel. We've already done that, and in this case, we're going to use channel 9, which we have just here. So we're going to take the male end of our XLR cable and plug straight in to tie line number 9 on this patch bay XLR tie. So we've set up a microphone in either the live room or the control room. Let's say you want to monitor your recording using headphones. So first of all, at the patch bay, you'll have to make a connection between your channel output and this Nemesis headphone amp. So to do that, you'll have to take a patch cable and make a connection from Pro Tools out into the Nemesis. So that's from row C, Pro Tools out, all the way down to Nemesis at the bottom of the patch bay. You can do that using either a single cable, if you just want one channel source, or if you want, say, a stereo mix bus to go to your headphones, you'll need to make 2 patch connections. So say on Pro Tools, you've made a stereo mix bus on channels 31 and 32, patch from channels 31 and 32 into channels 1 and 2 of the Nemesis. So from there, make sure that the brain for the Nemesis is on. You can do that by flicking this switch down and the red light will be engaged. Next, you'll have to make sure the foldback system is on, so you can flick that switch down. Then you turn up the master volume to between 4 and 5, and you can turn up your headphone level here. Let's say you have mix 1. Make sure this cable is connected to the brain into your Nemesis headphone amp. Now from here, make sure that if you're using a mono channel, your pan is dead center. You can adjust your overall output with this fader and your input with this headphone level knob at the side here. Now let's say you were monitoring a stereo mix bus. So on our patch bay, we'd have patched from channels 31 and 32 into channels 1 and 2 of the Nemesis. So in this instance, we want to pan these channels hard left and right and adjust our faders equally. Then similarly, we're still using these large knobs to adjust the overall headphones level. That's it. You're ready to start monitoring with your headphones. So when recording in the live room, you do not need to use the patch bay. When you're recording from the control room, you will need to use the patch bay. So to do that, we're going to take our TT cables and we're going to go from our XLR tie outputs. So right now, our microphone is plugged into tie line number 9. So we're going to make a connection from XLR tie output channel 9 into our SSL mic pre's from row B. So for simplicity's sake, we're also going to go into channel 9. That's it. If we want to record audio, as far as the patch bay goes, we're done. Now, let's say we wanted to record audio through that mic in the control room, but we wanted to use one of the compressors from the range of outboard gear we have over there. Well, then we'd need to make another patch connection. So we're going to go from channel 9 of row C on the patch bay, which is labeled Pro Tools out. And we're going to go into the input of our desired outboard gear. Let's say we want to use one of the LA3A units. We're going to go into the input of LA3A. So then we need to take another TT cable, and we're going to go from the output of the LA3A and back into our Pro Tools in. Now, we'll need to go into a new channel, so we'll have a dry signal, which is unaffected by the compressor, and a wet signal on a new channel, which is affected by the compressor. So right now, our dry signal is on channel 9, so it makes sense for us to go into channel 10. So now when we record, we'll have audio that's gone straight from the mic, as well as a second channel that's taking audio from the mic into the compressor, through to the desk, and into Pro Tools. So we've discussed the basic functions of the SSL 4000 G series console. Now, if you want to mix or record in this room, you'll need to set up a Pro Tools session. So the first thing you're going to want to do is go to Setup and Playback Engine and make sure that it is set to HDX. That is the ADDA converter that takes the signal from the SSL desk and into the computer. The next thing you'll want to do is go to your inputs, outputs, and just make sure everything is set to default. It should look like this. Just click OK. So now everything should be allocated in the right place, and we're ready to create a track. So we go up to Track, New. In this case, we just want one channel, so we're going to select mono. We want an audio track, and we're going to call it Box. Great. We've set up our track. Now we need to make sure that the input and the output correspond with each other. So if we select input 1 on the interface there, we need to make sure that we select A1. Last step is we need to make sure we enable record and input monitoring. And that should be it. If you have a microphone plugged into input 1 of the SSL console and follow these steps, you should be able to record audio into Pro Tools now. When recording audio through a microphone in Studio G, you'll have to set your channel strip settings. Today, we're using a Warm Audio 87. This is a condenser microphone. So first things first, we're going to need phantom power. You can find that up at the top here by pressing 48 volts. Then we're going to want to set our mic preamp to an appropriate level. So you can do this by adjusting the gain here. Then we go down to this section. Make sure that you engage direct. Lastly, we just want to bring up the small fader to unity. And then for monitoring, we can use the large fader at the bottom. And that's it. You're ready to record in Studio G. Thanks so much for watching. This has been our immersive video series on operating Studio G. My name's Josh. I'm the Assistant Director of Academic Technology. Thank you so much for your time. Take care.